Street Fighter 2 and Super Mario Kart, necessities for gracious living. At the dawn of the 90s, not only were both of these games important, but they would function as genre-defining efforts that continue to impact the gaming landscape until today. The two of these franchises would both result in countless numbers of copycats. Thanks to the originals, kart races and fighting games are now mainstream. Despite competing in a forever-changing industry, the latest entries in each series are considered some of the greatest games around. Street Fighter and Mario Kart are two franchises which remain evergreen. Considering these franchises' awesomeness, how cool would it be if some lunatic smashed them together? In the modern world of the internet where anything is possible, fortunately a clever sod has done that. So with all that said, I am Lady Decade and this is the story of Hyper Street Kart, a Super Mario Kart and a Street Fighter mashup. People often comment that they find my YouTube thumbnails eye-catching due to the thematic costumes I like to wear for certain episodes. If you appreciate a bit of cosplay mixed with gaming history goodness, then hit that subscribe button now. The more subscribers I get, the quicker I can afford to add another of these goofy outfits to my wardrobe. Thank you so much for watching this channel and I hope you enjoy the show today. Street Fighter 2 is a legendary fighting video game originally released in 1991 by Capcom. It quickly became one of the genre's most popular and influential games, paving the way for the success of the Street Fighter series and shaping the fighting game genre as a whole. Just 1 year later, we got Super Mario Kart, a popular racing video game developed and published by Nintendo. This Super Nintendo Entertainment System title was a groundbreaking game that introduced a new kart racing genre and became a major success. Combining two highly popular properties to create a synergy is certainly nothing new. Even in 1993, a company in Taiwan would try and capitalize on Street Fighter 2 and Super Mario Kart's success simultaneously. This would result in the illegal and unlicensed fighting game known as Kart Fighter, a ridiculous effort we have looked at in the past on here that would bring us the characters found in Mario Kart, but place them in a game that follows the rules and conventions of Street Fighter 2. I should add, many years before Smash Bros. This game allowed players to punch Mario and company in the face. But it wouldn't be until 23 years later in 2016 when the cast of Street Fighter would be transported to the Mario Kart universe. And that brings us to the subject of today's video, Hyper Street Kart, the Road Warrior. Developed by ROM hackers under the aliases of The Real Phoenix and Ten Shu, Hyper Street Kart would be available in July of the year we just mentioned. So let's discuss the lengths that were gone to separate this game as much from the Super Mario Kart source material as possible. Moving past the dubious Nintendo-style Capcom logo, we see a modified Mario Kart introduction screen showing this modified title's new name with the famous cast of World Warriors driving along the greenery below. Moving to the character select screen, you can see gamers have a choice between playing as Ryu, Evil Ryu, M. Bison, Guile, Blanka, Zangief, Chun-Li and Ken, with it being clear that the classic Mario Kart characters have been transformed into the cast of Street Fighter. For example, if you look closely, you can see that Bowser has become Blanka and Donkey Kong Jr. has become Zangief, which is rather fitting considering their similar statures. Gamers can play in the Street Cup race, the Fighter Cup race or the Hadouken race, with a Turbo Cup race being unlockable by beating the available challenges. Mushrooms in the original have been replaced with fist symbols, flower kicks and star Hadoukens. But what about the races themselves? An amusing detail is that the floating Lakitu has been replaced with a levitating Dalsim, who gives the competitors the green light when they can leave the starting line. While the first track doesn't aesthetically differ greatly from the original Mario Kart, it does have a different layout. The blocks on the floor that give out power-ups have also been changed to Street Fighter 2 style stars. On the subject of power-up blocks, some of the gifted abilities have been changed to fit the Street Fighter theme. For example, a green shell has become a regular Hadouken, and red shells have become homing Hadoukens. Some stages have been altered more than others. The second one in the Street Cup features more of a Thailand aesthetic, whereby if you look closely you can see palm trees and temples in the background. Nice.
Nice. Great.
What was previously a ghost house themed track has been altered to include a sunset background and combine wooden bits of track with more stable roads, which makes me wonder if this is the hacker's interpretation of Street Fighter II's Brazil stage. The fourth stage of the Street Cup has seen the most modification yet. What was previously a Bowser's Castle track now resembles Ryu's iconic stage from Street Fighter II and its iterations. One amusing detail I appreciated is that the thwomps have been replaced with angry-looking stone Akuma heads, showing that if gamers want to win this race, they must overcome the Dark Shadow. Like in Super Mario Kart, the final track of the first cup looks similar to the first one. I noticed it contains barrels, the same metal ones you must smash to bits in one of Street Fighter II's bonus stages.
Amazing.
As for the game's Fight Cup, I noticed the first track, Chocoland, remains largely unchanged in terms of aesthetics. However, those pesky barrels are once again present. We then get another modified Ghost stage, Thailand-themed one, and a Ryu stage featuring its fair share of Akuma stone heads. As for the rest of the game, the change to track layouts has been altered most. However, subtle changes are still added here and there, such as mountains being located in the background of the ice-themed track. If you unlock the final cup and make it all the way to what was previously the Rainbow Road, this track has been triply modified so that if you look at the map closely, the stage tiles have been rearranged to show shapes of various Street Fighter II characters, including Ryu, Chun-Li, and M. Bison. One further detail I have yet to mention is that if you successfully win a cup, the huge balloon that floats above the podium, which was previously a cheap inflatable, is now a big, fat E-Honda balloon.
Awesome.
As for why this hack was created in the first place, the hack's README text file contains notes from the developers. It outlines that the project started as a joke between us, a curiosity of how the game industry was 20 years ago, and a bit of nostalgia. We started on messing around with the sprites since we're both graphists, then dug more and more into the ROM to get familiar with ROM hacking tools. We pushed the joke as making a full boxed release of the game in limited number, just for fun, and the pleasure to have our SNES game on a shelf. Unfortunately, due to our lacking skill in code, we couldn't implement things such as musics or reassign proper attack behavior for IA. Zangief launches bananas, M. Bison launches mushrooms, etc. Despite their potential to make this game even more Street Fighter II themed, what the hackers managed to achieve here was a great effort, especially considering it was initially only planned as a private project between friends. So now if you want to make a Mario Kart themed fighting game, the Taiwanese brought us Kart Fighter, and these guys brought us a Mario Kart game where we could race as Chun-Li and company. Thanks to the internet, it almost feels like we are now living at a place in gaming where, if you can imagine a title exists, it probably already exists somewhere online. What an amazing world we live in. Anyway, if you enjoyed this one, don't forget to hit that subscribe button to see my future uploads. Then why not check out my old video covering the game where Mario goes to Brazil.